expire July 1st. For more details, call 609-316-2393.
You're listening to The Locker Room with Billy Schweim on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
All right, we're back broadcasting live at the Toms River Auto Group studio right here in Northfield. Billy Schweim, Mike Carlin, and producer Nikki Earnshaw. And Mike, our first guest, I mean, it needs no introduction, but if it wasn't for our first guest, I mean, sports talk radio wouldn't be where it is today. Hall of Fame.
In my book, Hall of Famer.
You know, he's also in the Philadelphia Pioneers of Broadcast Pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame. And if it wasn't for Angelo, I don't know if sports talk radio would be as it is today. You know what I mean?
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Right. So let's go to the Toms River Volkswagen Sports Hotline and welcome into the locker room legendary sports radio talk show host Angelo Cataldi. Good morning, Ange.
Hey, Billy, you're too kind. I think everybody would have been fine whether I was there or not. A lot of other guys did a lot of great work. I just kind of rode their coattails a lot of the time. Thank you for the kind words.
You know, I don't know, Angelo, because your personality, you know, you had comedic relief. You were serious at times, and you guys did a bunch of stuff that were basically, you know, you were testing the waters, and it worked. And if it wasn't for the Philadelphia fan and the passion, like you wrote your book, your memoir is loud, and you'll be signing books today at Sunrose Books in Ocean City at 756 Asbury Avenue today from 12 to 2. But your book is loud, how a shy nerd came to Philadelphia and turned up the volume, and he says the most passionate sports city in America. And that's true, isn't it, Angelo?
Well, it's the reason I came here, Billy. I was in Rhode Island, which, you know, a lot of people love their home state. I hated it. I didn't think I fit there. There's too much hero worship. So when I got a job offer to come to Philly, I thought it was like, you know, I had been summoned to the gates of heaven. It was like, oh, my God. And then I got here and I had all these reporters and all these columnists who were so critical. And I just kind of fell into lockstep with them. And it was just a perfect fit for me. And I wrote the book because there's this lazy narrative all across the country. I'm glad I'm on with ESPN so everybody can know this. This is outrageous, right, that we're still depicted in this city as a bunch of grubby, loud, uncivilized jackasses that fight each other in the stands and throw stuff on the field. That's all garbage. I talked to these people for 33 years, Billy, and they're passionate about everything. Yeah, they do all that stuff. I had a guy who called my show and said he was dying of kidney disease and he needed a transplant. And by the end of the show, 2 hours later, 28 people went on to the organ donation list. When's that story coming out, Billy? When are they going to tell the story about that side of the passion of Philadelphia fans? That's what I put in the book, to try to at least, for what I could do about it, just say, these people are amazing. They gave me the greatest career I could ever hope to have, and they were loyal to me the whole time. You can't ask for more than that.
Nah, you can't. We're talking with legendary radio talk show host Angelo Cataldi. Angelo, I remember, like, I got hired at U.S. Airways in 1985, and I'll never forget listening to you. You started off with Tom Brookshire and Bill Campbell. Was he there when you first started?
Bill came out right after us. Bill was our midday guy. And, yeah, how's that for start with a couple of legends, huh?
Yeah, Brookie, man. I mean, and you – it's almost like – and I used to see you guys every the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. You guys were always at the Philadelphia International Airport. And, of course, you know, once you work your flight, you get a lot of time to walk up at the terminal. And I'd always catch you guys. But one thing I noticed when I read your bio – your producer told you to stop pontificating and start entertaining. And that's what you did.
Yeah. That was when I moved over, I was originally a newspaper guy. I covered the Eagles for the Philadelphia Inquirer. So when I moved over to radio, I had no idea what I was doing. The only thing that saved me was the format was so new that not that many people knew it either. And there weren't enough people to fill all the time slots. So they brought newspaper people over. So I would go on and do what I thought I did when I was a guest. I would tell everybody, oh, they should have used this defense and that play, and all this technical stuff. And my boss called me in after the very first show full time, and he went, I don't know if you know this, but you're not in journalism anymore. If you don't entertain the people, you're going to hear click. If they're not going to, you better put some of that in there, or we're all going down. And so you did. And nowadays, it's second nature to people like you, Bill. But back then, we were just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I got to tell you, and you sure did. And it was not all kumbaya. I mean, you had some personalities at that radio station that really, I don't know if they liked each other, certainly disagreed with each other, but made for great radio.
Yeah, we hated each other. All right. I was the morning guy, and Howard F. was the afternoon guy. It was fortunate there was a show between ours, or there probably would have been fisticuffs. You know what I'm saying? We had a totally different attitude. He kind of resented us a little bit because we were newspaper guys on his turf, and we resented him because he basically did the job because he loved being around the team, and if the team kissed his ass, he would be kind to them.
Yeah.
Right? So there was that dynamic. We didn't kiss any ass back then. We yelled at everybody. And he picked the spots, and it was just not a great dynamic. Although I must say now, after it's all over and I look back, a lot of us stole a lot of what Howard was doing, and he kind of paved the way for a lot of the people in sports talk, and especially in Philly.
Angelo, it's Michael. Growing up in Philadelphia and listening to you for as long as I did, there's a couple things that I remember, the wing ball, or just listening to you with sports. What I always liked about that, you could be best friends with a player, but Billy, if that player did something wrong, Angelo,
he'd be the first one to
rip
rip
him. Yeah. But on a personal note, Angelo, I'm going to take you back to April 12th, 2004, opening day of Citizens Bank Park. If you remember, it was a rainy day, and I'll tell the story as quick as I can. My brother and I get tickets. We go there when the gates open. We run down to the first row behind the dugout. Yeah. And Angelo is in the first row. And all of a sudden, it's an hour before the game. It's a half an hour to get ready to throw the first pitch. And me and my brother are still just standing there. And he hears us talking like, "Oh, these aren't your seats?" And we're like, "No, we're way up there." And I remember, like it was yesterday, he looks at us and he goes, "Only in Philly, boys. Only that." And we ended up staying the whole game in the first row. Wow.
How great is that?
Yeah.
You know, do you remember what inning I left? Was it the third or the fourth?
Probably the rain probably got to you in the third. But
yeah, I don't think I'm not known to stay the whole 9 innings in a baseball game, unless it's like the 7th game of the World Series.
Angelo, on more of a serious talk, your producer, Joe Wechner.
Yeah.
What would you say that he helped you in your career, or how would you say he helped you in your career?
Yeah.
Everything. This is the unknown person in every radio show. I'm sure it's the same thing with your guy, Nicky, that called me. These guys are instrumental in the success of his show. Joe, first of all, he handled all of the intros, outros, the theme song. He did all that stuff. Plus, he had sound effects that he used throughout. He also knew how to, like when we had a board full of callers, he knew how to set them up so that we covered a lot of territory quickly. He was brilliant at that. He was brilliant when something was going on too long or he thought I had made the point enough. He would signal to me, "Get off it." He was truly more than a producer. He was almost a director. He knew exactly. He had an instinct for how long was the right amount of time to do a bit or to get off to the next subject. And without him, no way we make it that long. He was brilliant. No one's ever asked that the whole book tour.
That's great.
I'm so glad you got to ask that, and I got to answer it because there are so many people behind the scenes that contribute to the success of any good radio show.
We're talking with legendary radio talk show host, sports talk show host, Angelo Cataldi. Angelo, you'll be down at Sunrose Books today on Asbury Avenue in Ocean City. When you've been on book signing tours, what's some of the crazy things people ask you?
Oh, I got to tell you, it's been so eye-opening. First of all, I've actually had people cry. And I'll tell you what, this is the most poignant thing. when the Eagles won the championship in 2017, but they actually won it early 2018.
Right.
So many people have stories about like their father.
Yeah, we noticed that too. Yeah.
Who hung on to be there to see if they could do it. And then they would pass on like a few months later or whatever. And these people would give me credit. They would go like, "Oh, he loved listening to your show. It meant so much to him." And I went, "You realize I wasn't even near the field when they won the Super Bowl. Thank you for your kindness, but I loved it as much as you did." But that's one thing. And then the other one is wing ball.
Yeah.
A lot of people come up to me. Wing ball was there for 26 years. It had its moments. It became highly politically incorrect, and we had to end it. But they will come up like a guy like in his early 30s, and he went, "I entered puberty when I went to wing ball." I saw these girls running around with thongs on, and I went, "Wow, what's that all about?" And like I get a lot of that weird stuff. But you know what? But I look back at it now, and I go, "Wow, the impact we had was more than you could ever calculate when you're actually doing the show."
No two words have been spoken truer than that. Angelo, do you realize when you were doing your show, did you realize then the impact you had on people, or was that something that you learned over time? Or, I mean, you were having fun doing your job. Obviously, they say when you do a job you love, you never work a hard day in your life. But during your run, did it feel like work to you, or was it just you just didn't realize it?
I always felt like the impact was overstated when we were doing it. For example, we early on in our tenure, we tried to create this thing, Honk for Herschel. We wanted the Eagles to sign Herschel Walker. He was a free agent. So at 8 o'clock, Al Morgani, our co-host, he went out to the sports complex, and the concept was we would get hundreds of cars riding around in a circle around the sports complex, honking their horn at 8 o'clock for Herschel Walker. Well, he got out there, and there were like 10 people. And I went, maybe I'm influenced. Now, this was early, so maybe we didn't have that big an influence. So we counted down, and you heard a few horns honk, and then it got louder and louder and louder. And it was like ear splitting at the end of it. And we went to the break, and I got Al on the phone. I went, "Al, what were you talking about? It was amazing." And he went, "None of that was real. Joe Wechter, those were all sound effects." and then later, I tried desperately in the last 5 years to convince Philadelphia that Andy Reid is a phony and that he is totally overrated as a coach. And I tried and tried. And to this day, and I got a whole thing in a book about it, to this day, Billy, nobody buys it. Nobody says to me, I don't know what they all go, Andy Reid was one of the greatest coaches we ever had in this town. And I go, well, you didn't have to listen to him for 14 years, never answer a friggin' question, But whatever, so the influence is limited at times. And then at times, I guess, if we're in lockstep, if we are saying the things that the people are believing, then they consider us brilliant, and we're a huge influence.
No, I got to tell you, Angelo, one thing, I've been with ESPN now here for 9 years, and I've had I've had Joe Namath on, Jimmy Johnson. I've had some really big names in sports, almost all the Flyers, a lot of Eagles, Sixers, and whatnot. I've always been apprehensive to get – I don't want to say critical or get an argument, because you don't want to lose. For where I am in my career, I was always afraid of taking creative license to really challenge somebody or get in an argument. You never had that fear. You got in some heated things with Gabe Kapler and Norman Brayman. Did that ever? Oh yeah. Were you ever afraid of that? You'd have repercussions?
Well, first of all, I was lucky. I think it's much harder now than it was 20 years ago. You got to have your company behind you. They've got to be willing to take the phone call after you do that show, saying that guy was out of line. I want you to suspend him. I want you to do that kind of stuff, right? So, but I didn't worry about that, because I'll tell you the truth. I didn't really have any relationship with any of these players. I kept my distance from them because I wanted to keep pristine my opinion based on what I watched and what I listened to in the locker room. But I did not I did not have any desire to befriend any of these guys because I was pretty sure. Keith Jones taught me this. Keith Jones said, if an athlete is showing you friendship and you're a media person, he's just trying to buy your support. He doesn't give a damn about you. The media are hated in most locker rooms. He's just getting you on his side. And he used to say, I would mold these guys. And then I would say, well, wait a minute. Al Morgani, our co-host, he used to cover you. And then Jonesy would put his hands up and act like he was a sculptor, molding Al to do whatever he wanted. But no, you know, the thing is, the only thing that matters, the thing that you have, that you guys have that's most valuable, is not any connection with an athlete. It's your honest opinion of what you see.
Right.
And if you've been doing it 9 years, Billy, your opinion is educated. You've done it long enough to know what you see. And the people that are listening to you, they want to know what you see. And if you do that, don't worry about what the players say. Because I'm going to tell you what, 5 years from now, most of them are going, and there's a whole new batch coming in. So don't worry about it. Just give your opinion.
Well, I got to tell you, Angelo, I really appreciate you taking time. And you're going to be down at Sunrose Books today in Ocean City on 7th and Asbury. Make sure Mike Carlin's going to be down there. Unfortunately, I have to go pick up my daughter. But I got to tell you one last quick thing before I let you go. I'll never forget when I made it. Billy Werndell is a good friend of mine, and he invited me onto his show. And I said, okay. You know, he does his show up there in Westchester. And you know who I followed? Angelo Cataldi.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you were on right before me. And I'm like,
Right.
you know, I made it. I was on with it after Angelo Cataldi.
Yeah, he didn't give you any gift either, did he?
No, but we love Billy Werndell.
Billy's the best. I love it. Billy, guys, I really enjoyed doing this. Thanks so much for having me.
All right, Angelo, we'll good luck today, and we'll have you on again soon, shortly. Thanks so much.
Take care. Anytime, guys.
All right,
Bye.
there he is, the great Angelo Cataldi on the Toms River Volkswagen Sports
Legend.
Hotline.
Legend.
Do you hear his personality?
Yeah.
He laughs, and he's upbeat, and he's done so much, Mike.
And done so much, knows probably everybody in sport, but has just been a true fan,
and a
legend
legend.
of sports in the Philadelphia market.
All right, for over the first hour of the locker room is powered by Surety Title. Surety provides comprehensive title insurance protection and professional settlement services for home buyers and sellers, real estate agents, brokers, lenders, home builders, developers, and attorneys to facilitate your real estate purchases. From the shore to Center City and every place in between, Surety Title is there for you with 15 office locations in New Jersey and PA. That's Surety Title. For more information, call my good friend Ron Conklin at 856-988-8900. Hey, just about everybody in our area has heard about the Jersey Man and Philly Man magazine that is run by ex-Philadelphia tight end Ken Dunnick. But were you aware of their private business network they call the Legacy Club? Every month they hold private events at upscale locations in Philadelphia and South Jersey that attract over 200 top business people. If you have an interest in attending one of these events and see it's a fit for your business, send an email to ken@jerseymanmagazine.com or give them a call at 856-912-4007 for more information. All right, when we return, we'll wrap up hour number one. You're listening to The Locker Room with Billy Schweim right here on 97.3 ESPN.